It's June 2nd. I've shot video for a third episode in this series. I have yet to actually post the first video in this series. Back in January, this all started. Well, not necessarily this. You've seen this if you follow my channel. Back in January, I started the next phase of this. Shot a bunch of video, shot the whole thing, drug it home, shot putting it in the garage. And like 3 days later, after shooting even more video, I realized that there was no audio on any of that because the microphone was jacked up. So, I tried to use that video, no audio. I tried to do a voiceover, didn't like it. I tried to shoot one other intro, didn't like it. So here I am again. This is my 2000 F350 crew cab short bed. That's important. V10. If you've seen my other videos, you know that this is not the truck I intended to buy, but the guy took $2,800 for it, so it's the truck I ended up with. It's not a bad truck. It needs some work. It has some issues. Back in January of this year, I went and picked up a utility bed for this. Now, this bed is shot, and this is actually the good side. The tailgate fell out shortly after we bought it on our way to the dump, so the tailgate got left at the dump. It's pretty beat up, pretty rotted out. The back half of this truck is rough. Like, literally from here forward underneath looks great. The exhaust is ripped off of it, pretty rusty on the frame rail. It came out of Utah. I don't know what its life was before this other than abused, and I think it's been abused some since it's been here for some reason. But this bed has always been a problem. Didn't want a short bed. I don't even know why I went and looked at the truck, because it was a short bed, but I was having a hard time finding trucks, even V10s, in my price range at that time. Of course, 2 weeks later, they were everywhere for my price range. And I had planned to put like a utility box on it. I didn't want a flat bed. I wanted a utility bed. I wanted a service bed. I want doors, sides, all of that. But finding a utility bed in a short wheelbase that will fit this truck is nearly impossible here in central Kansas. There's a few that pop up, and rough condition, $3 or $4 grand. So pretty much early on, even like before I bought the truck, I kind of reserved myself to the idea that whatever I bought was going to have to be modified. But even then, decent long bed service beds, utility beds, were again $1,500, $2,500 price range, and that really wasn't where I was wanting to be. I got to talking to a coworker about this one day. He had bought a homemade trailer that had a service bed on it. It was a long bed. It's not in the greatest condition, but it came with this pretty heftily built little utility trailer. It's really not little. That has all the material I need to rebuild the bed. $500. So we bought it, went and got it, drug it home. This series is going to be about what it takes to get that modified, put back together, and installed on this truck. I'm shooting this in June, getting ready to put the first video out and schedule the second video. This was supposed to be a quick project. Supposed to be. And it could have been quicker than it has been. But I took a pause in the middle to do the Ram van. If you haven't seen the Ram van, go check out those two videos. That series was supposed to go on a little bit longer. Didn't end up where we wanted it to. But now we can get back on this. So what you're gonna see, I shot all back in January, February, March, and then hopefully once all that's done, we can start putting this thing together and get it put on this truck, hopefully before fall. That's my goal now. I'd really like to have that on by winter. So we'll see where that ends up. I got some really cool ideas for a extendable headache rack, ladder rack thing that sticks out over the cab. Gonna end up still being able to use the fifth wheel. I want to put a gooseneck ball in it as well. So I've got to do some additional measuring to figure out just exactly where we're gonna be. But what it looks like is I need to take about 14 inches out of that service bed to make it fit here. So that's gonna be interesting. Again, I need to do some measuring. I talk about this later on in the video. But I think right now the way this thing's gonna sit, it's probably going to look a little goofy. I think the boxes are going to sit down below here a little bit. I do have a set of running boards I need to get put on. So that'll kind of help break that up and make it look right. But I want to try and keep that top of that box down low so that it does clear a fifth wheel, a gooseneck, whatever. So yeah, we're going to have to section it here. I could have possibly spun the box around and put it on backwards because the rear boxes are actually shorter than the front boxes, but I would have had to swap the doors, which isn't a big deal. But that also would have created a ton of extension off the back. I kind of like the departure angle the way it is now. Not that I'm going to be off-roading this truck any, but I am keeping the receiver hitch and all of that in place, and I didn't want to have to extend the frame and relocate all of that stuff. So we're going to shorten the bed. It's not ideal. Let's get into this service bed and see what kind of mess this is. Yeah, we're looking underneath now. That's not great. That's not great. Yeah. Everything underneath needs to come out. The floor needs to come out. There's two ways that we could go about doing this. Let's look at the trailer. The trailer is in actually really good shape, and it would probably be smart of me to just use this trailer as not only the floor, but the whole subframe. I think we're going to end up taking her completely apart and just rebuild it. I'm going to completely cut this thing apart anyways. Probably what I ought to do is just get it cut apart, and then I can just take the boxes off, get everything off the trailer, get the trailer out of here. Yep, I think we're taking it completely apart. Very hot welds. I'm going to do the responsible thing, and I'm going to get eye protection. What are these? Hold on. You can't even see what I'm talking about. These are going to have to come off. At least these. We'll just take them both off. What are these? What are these used for? I see them on beds all the time, but I've never known what they were used for. And looking at these, I assume that something is supposed to go in them. And it looks to me like they've never been used for anything. About the same. And yes, I am using an impact driver as an impact because I have not gone and gotten my 3/8 drive impact yet. And if you think that's bad, just wait till you see the rest of the crap that I do. These are going to go in the scrap pile because I don't know what they are. But I look forward to somebody in the comments telling me what those are and how they're used. It looks like they used either seam sealer. Yeah, it's got to be seam sealer. And when I cut into it, it kind of looks like Bondo, but it looks like they used something to dress this seam after they welded it. And like, why? What would that accomplish? Okay. Yeah, those were pretty hot welds. There's a weld inside. Since this is sitting on a trailer, I should probably, try to crawl back. I already killed an 8 amp hour battery. decide if they welded that across that seam. Oops. Or if they filled it and polished it smooth. Pretty sure what they did is they welded it and then polished it smooth. So there's a weld here. It looks like the box comes, so that seam probably goes like that. Let's say they welded it and then polished it flat. See how I'm using this? That's the wrong way. Nope, it doesn't like that. Let's go ahead and cut that other side apart. That came apart really well. So I still need to go through a little bit further. I think you guys have a better view of everything than I do. This is going to want to fall and probably hurt me, and I don't want it to. What's the best way to keep that from hurting me? Wish I had... I've never had good tools. No, not a full set of good tools. No, that's not going to work. Am I stupid? Get it work. There's a gigantic rectangular tube down there. Oh my god, no. Like, this isn't even a real C-clamp. This is a piece of all thread and some nuts. Something that somebody made. But it has a bigger jaw than that, so neither one of those are gonna work. I have a pipe clamp somewhere. Yeah, there. So I have one of these. I think one will be enough. Probably not. But we're gonna try. Okay, so we're gonna cut clear through that. That's the only way this is gonna work. Let's start on this side because that's where my stool is. So I'm just cutting into the top what appears to be just a piece of flat. Or is that where this piece wraps around? That's where this piece wraps around. That's what I'm cutting into. Somehow I'm going to get that to break. Alright, let's do the other side. Oh. There we go. Alright. I think what I'm going to have to do, I think with those bolted down, they're going to hold themselves. I think what I'll have to do is start cutting through at some point. So if we look under there, we can see the big cross members, but that is the bottom of the box, and then it steps out. So what I can do is start cutting through from the top. So to reiterate that, big cross members that we saw underneath, I'll cut through everything on top. I'll leave that much out that I can then clean up separately. This will get remade out of whatever I salvage from the trailer. Guess at that point I can tip the trailer up and start looking underneath and seeing how the plates are held down. Then I'll just be able to set my own custom width. Or I'm going to end up with a whole bunch of scrap. Hell, I don't know. See, there's more of those on the other side. Like, what were they for? Is there like a rack that can go there? I don't understand. They're coming off. I can't imagine if there's anything I need. I thought it'd be really cool if I could find like a Tommy gate sheet to put on here, but God, those are expensive, man. Four welds left, but I'm not quite sure what's going on down there. It's almost like I had to re-weld it, or maybe that's just rust. Apparently I have really upset this stool. Yep, not a battery. Alright, well, I guess that's all we're gonna do today. I'm getting into it way deeper than I had wanted to, but I kind of anticipated that too. I mean, it's a used bed, and it's not the right bed, but you gotta keep in mind what the end result will be. The end result is intended to be a usable bed. Scrap iron is always a possibility here. And I get this split, get everything separated out, I can start cleaning these boxes up, and I can rebuild it however I want.